Hey folks, welcome back. In this video, we're going to do something I don't normally do, and that is, we're going to take a look at a knife. This is the Kershaw 1077 10-inch camp knife, and if you're in the market for a big chopper, you might want to stick around. Okay, so let's talk about this bad boy for a second. Obviously, made from Kershaw. This particular model is made in China with a Chinese steel, 65 MN. The blade steel is a medium to high carbon, often used as a spring steel, which is a Chinese version of roughly the equivalent of 1065. It is a suitable steel for a large knife, and if I was to make a large chopper, I would probably use either 1065 or 5160, something along those lines anyway. So it was a good choice for a knife of this size. Speaking on the size, it's almost exactly 10 inches in blade length. And 6 inches in handle length. Approximately 1 inch thick. And the blade steel is .20, which is roughly 3/16 thick. Overall length is about 16 inches. So talking about it from a design standpoint, it's not bad. The thickness of the blade, the selection of materials, considering the source, and the size-shape ratio seem to work really well for this knife. Seems like there was a little bit of thought that went into this design. It is approximately 19 ounces in weight, which is about 1 pound and 3 ounces, which isn't overall bad for a knife of this size. The overall shape and size of the knife, it seems to get its inspiration from a Kukri, which is great. That's an overall great large field knife. I don't think that anybody's going to dispute that. According to the information on Blade HQ, it has a flat grind. I would probably call that a high saber grind myself, but I guess, you know, 6 to 1, half a dozen to another. It has a black coating, and I'm not sure if it's some sort of an electro coating or a powder coating or a paint. I really don't know. It'll probably come out in the wash when you start beating on it. It all depends on how fast the coating wears, on what it is. It is very smooth. It's not a real thick, heavy coating on it, so it shouldn't interfere with any chopping. It shouldn't provide any extra friction. But being that it is high carbon, a coating is always nice to have because it's going to resist the rust that much more, except for the high wear areas. It's full tang as far as you can see in here. I can see the steel coming through the plastic, and then it's overmolded plastic with rubber on top of it. The rubber has a diamond pattern to it, and it's very aggressive, but it feels really good in the hand. I don't know how it's going to hold up after a lot of working. The shape is, overall shape fits my hand very well. It sort of narrows in the front, and as it widens out here, it also widens out in the middle, and then it narrows back in the back, so you get a really good, I mean, it feels like you're holding on to something. These feel like you're actually holding on to something that was designed to go in your hand like this. And in addition, it has the 2 lanyard holes, and I'll tie up a lanyard and show you how you can use those 2 holes. And now you have an added level of retention if you're really going at it in some thick woods. You got just one more level of retention beyond the stickiness of the rubber grip. I probably wouldn't leave this on here all the time, but I love the option if I get into a situation or where I'm starting to get a little tired and weak, or maybe my grip strength is failing me, then I like the idea that I can put a lanyard on it and keep it where it's supposed to be, so I'm not flinging it across camp. The overall fit and finish is pretty good. There are some gaps where the handle meets the blade in and around here, and you can see a little bit of spacing on the inside, but I don't think that's really going to affect anything. And for a knife that falls somewhere in the $40 to $60 range, I don't think you're going to do much better than this. overall, at first glance, it seems like a very capable, usable knife and well worth the money. So if you're looking for a budget camp knife, this might just be the one. The sheath, I don't like the nylon. It seems kind of like a little bit of low budget nylon to me. Like there's better ones that they can use. But the design of the sheath is cool. It is an injection molded plastic held together by rivets, probably got some glue in there, and then there's screws up here. It is reversible, so the retention strap can come off, go around the other side, and it's already got a snap on each side. So if you reverse it, you only have to reverse this piece, and everything else falls into line. It's a little floppy without the retention strap, but it's to be expected with a plastic molded sheath, and there is no retention at all without the strap. It's kind of an interesting setup they have. It comes around, the strap here comes around the back of the knife and over the front, which is kind of neat. I haven't seen that before. It's most definitely secure. It's not coming out unless this strap stretches out, but I don't think it's gonna. And if it did, I would just replace it with a nice leather one either way. These here just go through the back and then fold back around on themselves. Now it comes set up as a dangler, but if you take this piece out, move it down here, and then move this one back in, it kind of closes everything up like that and puts the belt loop here, so you can wear it a little bit higher on your waist. I don't like it, it digs into my ribs that way. If I was going to wear it on my belt, I'd wear it like this, and it's perfectly suited to that. The sheath, mine is obviously the tan. They also make a black one, and it's got a black grip and gray on this plastic. This plastic that's black on mine is gray, black handle, and then a black sheath with black nylon on it. Overall, the sheath design's not bad. Of course, it's blazing with the Kershaw logo, and it's the same on the back. So if you reverse this, flip it around and wear it as a lefty, it's gonna end up looking exactly the same left-handed. So I really like that when you have that kind of versatility. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could Velcro that down, and you could run your belt through there and wear this as a small of the back option, in which case you probably want to, if you're right-handed, you're going to want to reverse it, so the small of the back, so your handle's facing down, so when you grab it behind your back, you're grabbing it in the right orientation. So that's kind of cool. I wouldn't wear it across my back, but I might consider wearing it across the top of a rucksack or along the bottom of a rucksack that's at least this wide. So the options are there. It's nice that they thought of a whole bunch of little options like that you can kind of play with the whole modularity of it. I do wish that it had some sort of a rigging for molly. It would be nice to just hook it on the side of my hunting pack with some molly straps and know that it's going to be secure, but it doesn't have that option. So maybe I'll try and come up with something later on. So overall, it seems like a really, really nice package. It's obviously a name we trust, and it's yes, it's made in China, but for the money, I don't know if you're going to do any better, honestly. So the presentation is really nice. It seems like a durable package. It seems like it's got a lot of modularity, so you can adjust it the way that you particularly like to carry it. And it seems like something that I would spend my money on. But let's take it out, bash on some trees with it, and see if it's something that I would actually use after I bought it. So now what I have here is just an old dead pine tree in my backyard. I was going to come out and remove it with the chainsaw anyway, but I figured that this is a really good opportunity to give this knife a once-over before I actually take it out to the field. Never want to be out in the field with a piece of gear that's untested. So just lemon with all of that brush and stuff in my overhead, it seemed more like it bashed its way through rather than cut, but I'm not really putting a lot of effort into it because because the overhead, I don't want to catch a kickback on myself. So we'll see how well it cuts when I take the tree down. So you've pretty much just witnessed the sum total of the work that I've done with it. The coating is starting to rub off just a little bit just from that work. I mean, that tree wasn't an easy tree to take down. It's been standing dead for roughly 2 years, hardening up, and it was small enough that it had a lot of bounce in it. It's not like it was hitting a good solid object, and I also wasn't laying into it with all I had either. I just wanted to do some casual work with it and see if it did the job, and it did. It did a pretty good job. I'm actually pretty impressed with it for the weight and the size. The coating's not going to last. It looks really good out of the box, but it is going to wear off. So keep that in mind, that they're not going to stay pretty for long if you intend to use them. I think that this is a knife that I would carry and use. The efficiency of use is worth the weight. I think they got a good balance between the efficiency of the blade and the weight of the cost of carrying it. So the grip is good, the grip is sturdy, the string really helped to have that on there, and overall I'm actually impressed. For the cost of this knife, the expense usually comes in around $50, plus or minus $10 depending on where you look. Maybe you can find a little cheaper, maybe you'll see it more expensive, but I think $50 is a good middle ground for it, and then up or down 10 or 15 bucks from there if you get a good deal somewhere. Well worth the price either way. I probably wouldn't go any higher than the $60 range for it because of what it is. It's a Chinese made, it's a lightweight, pretty much expendable camp tool. But if I took this out and I camped 6 or 8 times through the course of the summer and I happen to break it or lose it, it wouldn't break my heart. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. I would just go get another one. It's not like going out there with a $600 handmade custom and then losing it in the woods. So for what it's for, which is a multi-purpose, clearing the brush and building camp, or making your way through some extra thick wood line or something like that, or maybe trimming off some branches and setting up a deer stand, or using it to harvest some wood and build a deer blind, I think that this is excellent for that purpose. And I wouldn't have a problem trying to chop through an elk joint with it either. And if I broke it or chipped it, not that big a deal. Not at all. The one caveat is that it is a recurve belly and it is difficult to sharpen sometimes. This particular one, it came pretty sharp. I didn't go through any kind of sharpness tests with it, but I could tell right off the bat that it could be sharper. It has a lot more potential than it comes from the factory, so I'll put a real good sharpening edge on it for the next time that I take it out, or for when I take it out to the actual field. It'll probably take the place on my pack as my backcountry large field knife. I don't always carry an axe when I'm hiking through the mountains. I want something lightweight but efficient, and I think that this will fit the bill. And if that's what you're looking for, then this is probably a good deal for you. If it's not, if you want something a little more high-end, a little bit more spit and polish, this is definitely not the blade for you. This is most definitely a beater utility knife, and I have no doubt that this can take some serious abuse. But if you happen to break it, lose it, or somebody runs off with it, it's not going to break your heart. Kick down another $50, get another one, and you're back to square one. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking between this and some of the Gerbers and the camping store large choppers, I would definitely say go with this. It's 3 times the knife of any of those. But if you're trying to decide between this and then a really high-end knife like a handmade custom or a high-end production knife, you're not going to be happy with this. If you have to have that high-end production quality, then go with the high-end knife. But for $40 to $60, for this, you're getting a lot of knife for your money. So, and that's just my opinion. So that's pretty much my impression of the 10-inch camp knife from Kershaw. I want to throw a special thanks over to my editor and the other minions at Breech Bang Clear for sending me this to do a video test of. So go ahead and bounce on over to Breech Bang Clear and check out their YouTube site or breechbangclear.com if you're into like the really tactical stuff or the non-traditional, non-politically correct side of things. Lean into those comments and let me know. What do you think of this? Do you have one? Have you been considering it? What are your thoughts on it? Anything you want to discuss concerning this bad boy? I'll also put a link to this blade on Amazon in case you're curious, so at least you can do a price comparison. So if you're not already subscribed, I ask you to consider doing that. Ring that notification bell so you know when I have new uploads, and start a conversation down in the comments. If I don't see you in the comments, then I'll see you on the next one.